Welcome. In front of me I have two different devices with two different flagship processors. So right here is the Xiaomi 13 both of them are running a benchmark right now, just so you can kind of see the performance difference. So this is the Xiaomi 13, which is running a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, while this is the OPPO Find N2 Flip, and this is running the new Dimensity 9000 Plus. Now, as you can probably see, both of them were literally started at the same time, and the performance does vary just a little bit. Actually, kind of in graphical performance, it varies a little bit more than a little, but it just finished it, and you can see that obviously the Dimensity 9000 Plus is below. So right here we have average frame rates of 14.8 frames, while this one was getting 22.4, so this is actually a decent increase, with overall score at the OPPO having 2472, while the Xiaomi 13 having a significantly higher score of 3733. Now I will bring up also my device for this, which is should be, I believe, below this, so I think it's going to be either on par with the Dimensity or, well, I guess a little bit above or below. Now, this was the first run, so before I start a second one, I'm actually going to just download the little benchmark. Now this benchmark, just to clarify this, focuses strictly on graphical performance. So there's no computing performance really in terms of like how fast it can process and stuff like that. This is strictly or primarily a graphic test, which you've probably seen based on it rendering graphical images or game or something along those lines. So anyway, I do have my little phone right here. Let's download the extreme one. So I believe it actually might be below the Dimensity. I guess we will see. Hopefully can download a little bit quicker. Now, while this is one of the benchmarks that I want to show, I will also probably start right now while this is downloading the Geekbench, just to also give you a performance difference in terms of like other computing processes. So CPU and see. So we're gonna run benchmark and run benchmark. Now if you're interested at the results of the Geekbench 6 results, just skip forward once it's finished. And like I said, the next thing that I'll be running is the Galaxy Fold 4 along with these two devices as well. Now I'm not sure if I mentioned this, the Z Fold 4 is running the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, 9000 Plus Dimensity, and 8 Gen 2. Yep, so this has finished downloading, so I'm going to set it to the side for now. And this is running right now just performance benchmarks in the background, so it doesn't really show us anything. Like, it's basically running PDF library, so it's checking how quick it can read it, some write it, and so on. So right now we're not getting anything, but obviously based on what we are seeing in terms of names and percentages, you can see that the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is miles ahead already over the Dimensity 9000 Plus. Now this is supposedly what the Snapdragon, even the Gen 1, was better at than Dimensity, so obviously the improved version of this processor will probably pull out even harder, so that's why we're seeing this kind of just almost double the performance jump right now, at least in terms of percentage. Now I did run out to grab a little measuring tool. I wanted to check how the temperature is looking like, at least to the physical touch, and honestly it's not bad. So let's see. Now this is Fahrenheit. Can we change it to Celsius? Thank you. So we're looking at 69. Nice. About 73 C right here. No, I don't think that is correct. That is nowhere. Or maybe. I feel like the 70 something C was a little bit too high. So yeah, I don't think that is correct. Let's try this one. Now this case is an absolute nightmare to take off. I'm honestly afraid that I'm gonna break this because it's literally holding on to nothingness right here. There we go. So here. Now it is a little bit warmer, but I will be honest that I am a little bit late to the party with this. So checking out the also environment right here, how it basically catches it. So table about 60, the phone itself 65, about 66. Now I believe it's a little bit off, to be honest. As you can probably see, it's gaining my temperature as 67. So I'm basically dead. Okay, so never mind, this is kind of broken. So I'm not gonna use this. If my temperature is at 67 C, I am literally boiling from the inside right now, or approaching the boiling point. So yeah, that's not correct. Okay, anyway, now we did finish these tests, so let's go back to them and get a quick look. And just as you probably expected, we do have a little bit of a difference right here. So single core performance at 1395 and multi-core performance at 5171. And the Dimensity 9000 Plus is getting, well, lower scores, as you can see all around. So obviously the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is a newer processor. Obviously it's faster, which there was no doubt to begin with about that. But now let's just see how it performs in terms of graphical performance to the 8 Plus Gen 2, which I believe Gen 2 might still be just a tad bit faster because the 9000 Plus was released as I believe competitor to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, the default Gen 1, not the overclocked as this one is running. So anyway, let's just try it out again. Now keep in mind, these two phones have already run two tests. So it ran the 3D Mark once, both of them, and then the Geekbench, Geekbench once as well. And the Geekbench probably could be contributing to some throttling that this phone probably will not experience right now. Anyway, let's just get this going. Okay, so as you can see, these two have just finished, and Dimensity is, well, right behind. Now, when it comes down, you can see that these two, the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 and the Dimensity 9000, have a very close score. They are like almost neck and neck. We have literally a 0.1 frame difference, so it's not even a single frame difference, average frames per second. So these two are almost exactly the same in terms of graphical performance. Now in terms of compute power, for like the Geekbench that we did, the 8 Plus Gen 1 will be faster, but not by much. But in general, in terms of graphical performance, you can expect the same thing. Now, one thing that I wanted to add, because it's something that I've been checking out recently, the emulation. So probably one of the harder emulations that I have found out is the emulating of a Switch games. Now, this could be to do with the Switch emulators not being optimized just yet all that well. But when it comes down to it, if you're thinking about a device and looking for one that can do this, I would actually recommend going for the Snapdragon. From what I have experienced, the Dimensity processor in general, like not just this one, struggles or has some graphical performance or bugs that I didn't really look into if it can be solved or not. But straight out of the box, it has more problems than the Snapdragon. So I just wanted to point that out. And when it comes down to it even further, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 does a fantastic job at emulating. I'll be making a video on strictly just emulation on this device, just showing a couple different titles, at least for Switch emulation, and how they run. I'll also be comparing the two different emulators that you can find for the phone. I will unfortunately not be doing it for this device just because the actual emulation doesn't really seem to be running all too good or all too well. Now, once I can find a way to run it reliably, I'll be making a video on that as well, when it's running correctly, where it doesn't have too many graphical bugs. But at the state that I've tried it, it wouldn't be a playable state, let's call it that. So anyway, this will conclude this little overview of these devices, or processors more precisely. And as you can see, the Dimensity 9000 Plus, even though it's obviously a cheaper processor for a little bit cheaper devices, at least, performs adequately, at least with the last gen processors, even the upgraded versions of it. So the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, it basically, in terms of graphics, it can run almost any game super well. So you should have very little problems of running Genshin Impact on this, considering the performance or graphical performance of this is on par with the Galaxy Z Fold 4. Now, it is a little bit behind the Snapdragon Gen 2, but once Dimensity creates a new version, like the, I assume, what would it be? Dimensity 10,000? I'm not exactly sure what their name will be. Then you can probably be expecting similar performance to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. And that would be great, considering the Dimensity is always a little bit more affordable of a processor for a device. Now anyway, with this being said, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.